Welcome back to my channel, Mama. Today I have 5 tips for the homeschooling mom. Now, these apply to you whether you are a new homeschooling mom or a seasoned homeschooling mom, because let's face it, our homeschooling journeys are ever changing, they're ever challenging, and sometimes we need the encouragement to start, but other times we need the reminders as to why we're doing it and to how we can be making it a lot less overwhelming and more peaceful for ourselves. So get cozy and let's jump in. My first piece of advice, again, whether you are new to homeschooling or you've been doing this for a while and you just need a reminder, is that it is okay some days to start with the fun. We don't have to have that routine in place where we are starting with our morning baskets or starting with our math or starting with our language arts. We can veer off the path, right? And sometimes it's really fun to start with the fun. And then our children are actually learning that we are in control, right? Like not just us, but like the plural we, like they are also in control, right? Of our lives, right? Of our days, of the way we want our days to go. Some days we need to start with fun. Maybe it's just been really overwhelming lately, or maybe we just need a, kick in the butt because we've kind of fallen off and our lessons have fallen off and we're trying to get back on. Start with the fun. We have done this several times now, and starting with the fun has made the rest of the day a lot smoother, right? Our children are engaged, their minds are awake. They're not just sitting down and coming to the table to do their curriculum, which is not a problem, right? And most days that's what we're doing because we're kind of like wanting to get that done and out of the way so that we can then have fun for the rest of the day. But also remember to start with the fun. Some days it's okay to put the morning baskets aside and the curriculum aside. And honestly, if you don't even get to it, you don't get to it because learning is happening all around us. Which brings me to my second point. Learning is happening all around us. It's really hard to see that and to notice that. And it's not because we can't see it, it's because of the outside pressure, right? In society, making us question whether or not we've made the right choice to homeschool in the first place, whether we are prepared and actually adequate in teaching our children, right? We have all of these voices in the back of our heads just telling us that we're not doing enough. And so because of that, we're trying to actually do more than we need to do sometimes. And so I want to encourage you to close the books at times and to understand that it's still a successful day, even if you didn't get through all of the lessons, because learning is happening all around us. My 2-year-old, who is not having any formal teaching done, he can tell you the days of the week in order because he's listening to our Days of the Week song. He will count from 1 to 10. He can recognize his numbers. He can recognize all his shapes and his colors. I've never taught him. We've never sat down to tell him, these are your colors, these are your shapes, these are your numbers. But he's listening and he's learning all around him. Same goes for my 6-year-old. My 6-year-old is reading, and he was reading before I sat down to formally instruct him. Why? Because he's playing games with his 9-year-old brother. Because he was asking, how do you spell this so that I can write this in the chat box? How do you spell this so I can write this because I'm drawing a letter to my grandma? Like, they are always learning. Learning is happening all around us. And so sometimes we need to remember that. If not just so that we can feel like we are enough. We are enough. We are more than capable of educating our children. They are our children. Who better than to educate them than us? So close the books and remember that learning is happening all around. The third thing I want to remind you of, or let you in on, is that you do not have to homeschool during traditional hours. Like, you don't have to homeschool Monday through Friday in the morning, 9 to 3. First of all, I hope your homeschooling days aren't lasting 6-7 hours. And what I mean by that is like sitting down at the table doing curriculum, right? Because learning is happening all around us, I don't count like our art and our extracurricular activities and the foreign language and our reading, because those are like the fun that we're having. But I'm talking about like sitting down, doing our language arts, our math, our writing, our history, our science. Like, that doesn't take more than 3 hours each day, like from start to finish. And so I want to encourage you though to know that you don't have to be schooling during school hours. You don't have to make your home look like a school. Actually, I will link the video where I share our space and how we've made do with the space that we have, and we don't have a dedicated homeschooling space because, again, I feel like we're trying to often, especially in the beginning, to recreate school at home. And that's not what homeschooling actually is, right? For me, anyways, homeschooling is having the freedom to learn everywhere and anywhere. So if you are a new mom and you are wondering how you're going to be able to juggle business, running your own business, and homeschooling. Did I say a new mom? A new homeschooling mom. And you're wondering how you're going to be able to juggle homeschooling and running your own business, and how am I going to meet with clients during the day if I'm homeschooling my children during the day? Then homeschool your children in the afternoon or in the evenings, right? Or on the weekends. Time is fluid, and we don't have to box ourselves in with time. We should enjoy the freedom that we have gotten with the lifestyle that we have chosen. So if you want to homeschool from 3 to 6, or if you want to homeschool on the weekends, or you want to homeschool 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week, or you want to homeschool from 5 in the morning to 8 in the morning because that's when your kids are awake anyway, and you're like, hey, let's get it done. Whatever works for you. Homeschooling does not have to be done in the traditional schooling hours. The next thing is, don't stress about finding the perfect curriculum. I can take you to like our homeschool closet and I can show you all of the different curriculums that we've tried. I can name a few. I mean, the list would be pretty lengthy right now and I'm not gonna do that, but we've tried so many curriculums, and like the ones that didn't work, it's okay. And my children still learned during that time, right? So don't put that pressure on you that you need to find the perfect curriculum, right? In looking for curriculums, you will find the one that works for you. I promise you, right? And it's going to take, I mean, maybe. I've never personally met someone who has like picked the first curriculum that they've found and used it throughout their entire homeschooling journey, right? Like, your children change, their needs change, your needs change, whether you're doing an open and go curriculum or you have the time to sit down and dedicate and create your own curriculum, things change. And so we can't expect to get it right on the first try. And if we don't, then think that it's a fail, right? So stop looking for the perfect curriculum. Look for the curriculum that can work for you. And if it doesn't, it's okay to change mid-curriculum. It's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of money. I mean, you know, yeah, it can get pretty expensive if you're like investing in all of these different curriculums. So make sure that it fits your budget so that if it doesn't work for you, you're not like, man, this was a whole bunch of money, and then you're wanting to stick to it even if it's not working for your family, right? Many curriculums, if not all, have samples, so you can actually download the samples and see first, like beforehand. You can also look up on YouTube reviews, and like people will do flip throughs of the curriculum so that you can have a better understanding and more informed decision. But at the end of the day, do not feel the pressure to find the perfect curriculum. And when the curriculum doesn't work for you, do not be discouraged. Do not be ashamed or judge yourself for having to let it go and move on. And last, but certainly not least, because again, if you're a new homeschooling mama, you are going to need to remember this. And if you are a seasoned homeschool mama, then let this be your reminder in case you need it right now. Remember why you started homeschooling in the first place. It's very easy to get lost. It's very easy to go on Instagram or on Pinterest and see all of the beautiful things that people are sharing, because of course we share the beautiful moments and the beautiful pieces. And that's not a bad thing, right? I think it's inspiring when we share beauty, because it means that we are seeing the beauty in our own situations and not focusing on what's not working. So I think it's great that people share. I think that it's up to us to decide to take it as a grain of salt and to know these are the beautiful moments that this person is sharing. And it doesn't mean that they have a beautiful life with, you know, no mistakes and no hangups and no chaos, right? We have to know that. We have to appreciate that. But it's easy to look at that and then want to replicate that, even if it doesn't serve us, and even if it wasn't the reason that we started homeschooling in the first place. You know, you can see all of the different wooden toys and the manipulatives and the way people have set up their homeschooling, and you can see all of the field trips that they're doing and all of the arts and crafts, and you can feel less than, especially if you're not doing that. But if that's not the reason that you started homeschooling, to have wooden toys, to take field trips, to do arts and crafts, if the reason that you started homeschooling has nothing to do with that, and those were kind of just perks and benefits of homeschooling, then come back to center, right? And remember why you did it. Maybe it was so that you can have more time with your children. Maybe it was so that you can be the person who influences your children most. Maybe it was so that you can have the freedom to travel and the freedom to explore. Maybe it was because you wanted to have an unconventional life and you wanted to teach your child how to learn instead of how to memorize and how to be a test taker, right? Like, these are all different reasons. But I want for you to remember the reason that you started your homeschooling so that that can guide you and the decisions that you have to make, whether it's curriculum, whether it's investing in a co-op, whether it's extracurricular activities, taking the trip, booking, the field trip, buying the supplies for all the arts and crafts. Let your reason, your why, guide you when it comes time to making the decisions for your homeschooling. Okay, Mama, that is what I have for you in today's video. I hope that these tips and that this advice can help you in your homeschooling journey. Again, if you're just getting started, take these, write them down, put them somewhere where you can actually focus in on them when you need to, and let them serve as a reminder. And if you're a seasoned homeschool mom, I hope that they just reminded you as to, again, why you started and what you're hoping to gain, and that learning is happening all around us, right? And so we don't have to feel the pressure that society and family members and friends might be putting on us. We are actually in control of the narrative. We're in control of the life. And while people are entitled to their opinions, it's up to you to decide that that's their truth, but it doesn't have to be your truth. If you have enjoyed this video, I would love for you to subscribe. I have more coming, more where this came from. I'll also link the most recent video right here. But again, I'd love it if you followed, and that's what I have for you. I will see you in next week's video.